Hey, g'day, Peter here, and today I am sharing a bit of a revelation with you. And so it's a bit of a personal story, so buckle in. Recently, I had some time off and I went on holidays and I went to France. And the whole purpose of going there was to head to the French Alps to go skiing. So if you've been around me for a while, you know that I'm a bit of a movement enthusiast and I am always about let's move, let's be consistent with movement and make it part of our daily life. But here's what I discovered going to France and spending some time in those French Alps is that there is total joy in slowing down. And so this is what I want to explore with you today. So I want to talk about this movement philosophy versus this French approach, shall we? So here's my traditional approach. So this is typically what I do on holidays, and I've done this for a very, very long time. My day is structured around movement, as well as my getaways are structured around movement. That could be hiking the hinterlands, it could be swimming or boogie boarding on the Gold Coast or the sunny coast, or it could be challenging hikes and trails on Mount Barney. And look, we all know that there are significant benefits to moving and exercise as far as our health, having stronger muscles, being clearer in the mind. And so I've always been that person who said, come on, let's get going. There is so much to see, there is so much to do. And maybe you might be that person who can relate to that as well too. So I'm certainly going to encourage you to keep on moving. And one of the things that I heard from a travel companion was squeeze the toothpaste. So get the most out of every single moment that you possibly can in each day. And I really like that. But here's the French contrast to all of this. It was still about staying active in skiing every day and exploring. But what was significantly different here was the rhythm of life. They have this wonderful approach to meals. So they're not just fuel stops where you get in and you scoff it all down and you get on with your day. They're more about taking your time. They're leisure events. They're more about allowing your body to enjoy the foods. And so rather than having a quick sandwich or whatever it happens to be at lunch, it sometimes is an hour or 2 hour affair with lots of courses, lots of conversation, and absolutely no rushing around whatsoever. Now, at first, I really found myself getting a bit antsy about this because I'm, watching my watch and going, come on, let's get on with this. There are ski runs to waiting for me and I want to get out there. But what actually happened was this unexpected joy that I found in just taking each day nice and leisurely. So the revelation I had was about slowing down. And so what I really found was my senses seemed to be quite heightened. Like I was really, really noticing the flavors in the food. I wasn't really racing through meals. Even as simple as a cup of tea, what I was finding was that I was really, really enjoying the flavors, the smell even of the tea. And the local produce in France is something entirely different. It really is like a party on your on your taste buds. And even bread, yes, I am saying bread here. Fresh veggies, the local meats, everything just felt more vivid and more alive. And maybe that's because it's not as processed as what we have here. But I really started to begin to notice how I felt afterwards. I didn't feel as bloated. I didn't feel uncomfortable. And I felt really quite satisfied with the food and quite contented. And I wasn't overly eating. I was eating for a longer period of time, but I was really just simply enjoying the food. Um, but I was also thinking about, well, I'm wasting time just sitting around here. And then the penny dropped for me. The time wasn't being wasted at all. There were hidden benefits. After a little bit of time at this slower pace, I realized there were a lot of things going on. Firstly, I was more appreciative of downtime and those moments that I was having in between activities, and that there was no need to rush around. Secondly, my thinking itself was a lot clearer. I felt a lot more creative. And in fact, I found myself jotting down like ideas and notes and thinking about projects and solutions to some of the problems that I had that have been bugging me for such a long time. So that was wonderful in itself. But then thirdly, it was about the conversations. So with my travel buddies, it just felt deeper, it felt funnier, it felt more meaningful. And we weren't just talking about what's the next activity that we're going to do. We were sharing stories, we were talking about life, perspective, dreams, the list goes on. But what was most important was my senses seemed so heightened. I noticed things that I would have missed before, like particular shades of blue in the sky, subtle differences in the snow, parts of the mountain, different aromas from different cups of tea, which I've already mentioned. Um, it was like life had been turned up. And what's really fascinating about the whole thing is that there is science behind this. And I know that if you've been around me a while, you know that I like to do a little bit of research and find out, well, is there something behind this? And it turns out there is. So when we slow down, our stress hormones decrease. Amazing, right? Our digestive systems function better, and our brains have time to process the experiences and make new connections. So, all in all, slowing down is just a marvelous thing to do. But here's what I think is really important is to find that balance between the movement and the slowing down. So it isn't that activity and movement is bad and slowing down is good, or the reverse of that. It is that we need both to have some type of balance in life. And here's the thing, that what works for me is going to be entirely different for you. So the amount of downtime you need might be very different to the amount of downtime that I need. Now, the French have this really nice saying, and I'm not going to put on my best French accent and attempt it because I will totally destroy it. So I'm going to give it to you in English. It is one must savor the present moment. And I really like this. So it doesn't mean that we need to be lazy. It doesn't mean that we need to be unproductive. What it does mean is that we need to be fully present in whatever we happen to be doing, whether that's movement, whether that's having a conversation, whether that is having some downtime. So, you might be hiking up a mountain and it's time to engage their senses and look all around and appreciate the different colors that you're seeing and the smells that you can smell. Or maybe you're having lunch with a friend. So it could be about the conversation or the food that you're about to have. So this concept of presence is something that I think we often talk about, but we probably don't practice it a lot. Well, I know for myself, this is quite true. I am someone who does take downtime every single day, but this holiday has helped me experience that downtime and that connection with the present moment in a whole different way. It's about being engaged in our bodies in whatever activity we happen to be in. And so it's whatever you're doing, let's give it our full attention, whether that's movement or whether that's leisure. So let me just have a sip of water first. For someone who has built my identity around movement and activity, this was just a huge shift in perspective for me. So, what if the quality of our experiences matter more than the quantity? And what if savoring one moment fully is worth more than rushing through 10? Something to think about, right? So each week I like to finish up with a move moment. And this week is no different, but this move moment, because we are talking about slowing down, it's actually a slow movement. So here's what I want to invite you to do this week is to choose one activity, one something small that is something that you do every day that you normally rush through. And I want you to slow it down deliberately. So it could be having your cup of tea, it might be eating your next meal, it might be taking a short walk. And I want you to give yourself permission to not be in a hurry and to be fully present. So it's about making this conscious choice that you're not wasting time, but you're investing in a different kind of experience. So let's talk about some practical applications with this. As I was starting to head home, I started to think about how am I going to bring this leisurely thinking concept and living experience back with me. I know I'm not going to be a different person suddenly. I'm always going to be wanting to move. I am the person who is still up of a morning, doing a morning walk, doing my strength training, planning active, weekends and adventures. But there are some small things that I've started to do, and I want to share those with you. And maybe there might be something in here that resonates with you that you could consider. taking into your daily life. So I'm slowing down a lot with my cup of tea of a morning. So I'm just sitting. So I might sit outside. Um, I might sit inside and I might just smell and try to capture that feeling that I had when I was away. The other thing is instead of having dinner with friends and family, I'm thinking about having lunch instead so that it can be a longer process so that we're not thinking, okay, we've got to get home to bed or, it's getting late type of thing and we're not watching the clock so that we can allow those conversations to unfold and to enjoy the food. I am now, if I'm not using my phone, it sits in the kitchen. It is not with me. And so in the past, it would always be next to me somewhere, wherever I happen to be. I've always been someone who has built in some type of breathing space as well too. So in between activities, I'm allowing myself some downtime, but I'm more conscious and I'm more present in those moments now. I am taking more time to notice nature and the things around me when I'm outside, when I'm walking of a morning. And I have been sharing some of those photos and I've been thinking about, what I'm seeing and how I'm feeling as a result of taking that downtime as well too. So look, these are really, really small things, but I know that they're going to have quite a big impact on my life with some level of consistency. So, but I am not saying to abandon movement. Um, I'm just saying that what we want to do is both include the movement and the exercise with the rest time. And these small changes that you are considering here might help you find a little bit more balance in your life. So, in finishing up, there is one thing that this seasoned Aussie has learnt from being in those French Alps and being overseas is that sometimes the most rewarding activity is simply just taking time out. Movement is absolutely essential for our physical and our mental well-being. But perhaps the art of slowing down is as equally as vital to having some level of joy, allowing ourselves to be more creative, and to have these deeper connections, not just with ourselves, but with others in our lives. And so I'm not suggesting that you have to choose between one or the other. I want to be really clear with that. I want you to think about being active and being present and taking these leisure times as well too and being present with them. So this week's challenge for you is to pick that one opportunity each day to deliberately slow down. And as I said, it could be anything that's going to work for you. It might be a conversation, it might be a meal, it might be part of your movement routine, but I want you to pay attention to what you notice when you're not rushing around. And I want you to share that with us in our Facebook group, which is Women Over 50 Get Active and Healthy, and hashtag ageless slowdown. And let's try and discover what happens when we give ourselves permission to savor those moments. So I shall see you all next week. Take care and have a great day. See you soon. Bye.